Hello, welcome to Health Talk. I'm Dr. Manny. Millions of people go blind every year, and many of those people are children. Some of the conditions that cause their blindness are curable, treatable, or preventable, if you have access to proper medical care, of course. Joining me today is Bob Rank. He's the CEO of Orbis, which created the world's only flying eye hospital, and Dr. Douglas Frederick, one of the surgeons who travels the world teaching local doctors how to treat some of those cases. Thank you for being here. Wonderful story. I would love to talk about this because, you know, helping children and people that are having difficulty seeing is something that is so noble and so great. So, Bob, let me start with you. How long does it take to coordinate this type of service?
An Orbis Flying Eye Hospital program takes 12 to 18 months to plan and execute. We select or create a relationship with a partner hospital and investigate their needs, whether it's cornea, cataract, retina. We select trainee doctors within that hospital who are going to be our train-the-trainer cadre for the future, and we look at their specific skill sets. And then we do surgical case screening over our online learning platform called CyberSight until we have enough to build a full surgical schedule. And then the on-the-ground portion of a program takes 2 to 4 weeks, depending on the complexity and the volume of the training that we get to do.
All right. Doc, the idea to teach others, great, because, you know, that's part of our mission, right? You know, see one, teach one, do one. Exactly. What's the setup in this flying surgical suite, and how do you deal with some of the tools that you have in there?
Yeah, well, the unique thing about the Flying Eye Hospital, it's like taking the best operating room here in New York City and combining it with the production facilities you have here in the studio so that you can perform high quality, modern ophthalmic surgery and broadcast that to other doctors who are watching on the plane,
right,
as well as other...
So not only do you get the doctors to kind of assist and be there with you with the patients, but you kind of broadcast that to the students, to residents, to other doctors who, in other, let's say, locations who, you know, want to learn techniques.
That's right.
And, you know, in the intro, I talked about sort of general concepts of blindness, but what kind of medical cases are you treating now?
Well, as a pediatric ophthalmologist, I deal with ophthalmic conditions that affect children. So that will be strabismus or misalignment of the eyes, crossed eyes. But most important is conditions such as congenital cataracts,
right,
which, if not treated in the first few weeks or months of life, can lead to a lifetime of blindness.
Right.
So making an intervention early in the life of these children makes a huge difference in their life.
So, Bob, you started to mention the location. So walk me through a little bit of the scenario. Most of the countries that you're visiting are where now? In Asia?
The 3 highest prevalences of blindness in the world are in Africa, India, and China, and that's the preponderance of our work.
Right. So if I'm, let's say, a regional director, or let's say a Department of Health director in my community in some, you know, a section of either Africa, how do I get a hold of you? How do I know about you? How do I set up you and him and the whole thing coming to my area?
We have offices in 9 countries in Africa. We've built 32 pediatric eye clinics in India. We have a pretty sizable operation with a great relationship with the government in China. We look at WHO statistics. We look at needs analyses that have done by the International Agency for Prevention of Blindness. So we've got a good picture for where the needs are. We try to match up the needs with where we can make a lasting difference, because Orbis's goal is to leave behind a proficient eye care team to support the surgeon so they can prevent and cure blindness after we're gone. It's
right,
a sustainability model.
So how do you get people like him to join the cause?
I tell you, it's the number of people like him with big hearts who want to contribute to this is awe-inspiring.
So tell me a little bit about missions.
Yes. So the mission actually begins months before we actually show up on site,
right,
where we establish a relationship with the local ophthalmologist. They have a specific goal, a specific technique they want to learn. They will have selected patients. They will have sent me photos through the internet where we can discuss the cases beforehand.
Right.
So that when we show up on site, we spend the first day doing a screening day where we screen maybe 50 children and select 15 to 20 cases we're going to operate on through the course of the week. those cases will be the children who have the best chance of regaining vision, and the best opportunity to teach that specific technique.
So there's a lot of, even before the surgery occurs, there's a lot of case discussion, analytics, medical stuff that is, like for any surgeon, necessary to learn prior to just cutting and learning a technique without knowing what the background is.
Exactly. We're not a parachute organization. We don't just fly in and fly out. We establish these relationships with the doctors.
What's your sense of the learning curve? Does it take a lot of cases for these doctors, or are they pretty well prepared?
These doctors are very skilled ophthalmic surgeons. They just need a little bit more knowledge and an opportunity to see the technique practiced in front of them. So I will demonstrate the case a couple of times, and just like when we teach our residents in our medical school, I'll observe them do the case, and by the end of the week, I will have the chance to see them do the case in their own hospital with their own tools to know that when I leave, they'll be able to
know what to
provide the care.
Tell me, you have a unique case you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, well, this first off, there was a case in Shenyang of a young woman, young girl, 9 years old, who couldn't move her eye up. So she had spent her whole life lifting her head up in order to see singly. This was preventing her from doing well in school. She was being teased. We were able to do surgery on that child, her name Hong, and at the end of the week, we knew that she was going to have straight eyes and see.
Right.
But perhaps probably the most moving case I ever had was the very first case I did in Orbis in 1997, where I went to Burma, which at the time was a very secluded, isolated country. The doctors had no opportunity to learn unless Orbis came in and taught them. And a man brought his first child, a daughter who was 3 months old with cataracts in both eyes. She needed surgery. We were able to do surgery on both eyes. That was in 97. A year later, I went back on a plane mission in Burma, and he brought his daughter. She was about 1.5, running around, wearing her glasses, interacting like any other child. And he had a paper bag, and in this bag, he took out this statue that is a wood carving.
Right.
And this carving, he said to me, he said, "This baby is my daughter, and this is your hands. And your hands gave my baby her vision."
Isn't that beautiful?
Wow. And you can imagine, as a physician, how that made me feel.
Absolutely.
And I was so grateful that I could help this child, but I could work with Orbis and help thousands of doctors treat millions of patients and provide that same service.
All right. The last question. We talked about how do we get wonderful doctors like him, but what's the time commitment for doctors? I mean, do they do it? Is it a long time commitment, or is it just a mission if they want to get involved?
Our doctors are involved not just with the preparation and execution of an individual flying eye hospital trip.
Right.
A lot of them create mentorships and friendships with doctors around the world.
So
they bring these guys to the U.S. on fellowships. They go to visit them on vacation. They do consults. The teaching continues.
So it's a perfect partnership. All right. Well, listen, wonderful, incredible story. I congratulate you both on such a great mission. Where can people get more information and learn about this organization?
For $25, you can give sight to a child who was born with cataracts. For $25 a month, you can help 12 kids a year, and it's all at orbis.org.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being a great, great story. And if you have any health questions, tweet me at Dr. Manny on Fox. Until next time, I'm Dr. Manny.